escape without leaving any trace behind. No police, no government in the world can trace a criminal back if these 4 simple things are implemented properly. First of all, your IP address needs to be hidden. The number one way in which the police or the government can trace you back is on the basis of your IP address. But already in this lecture, we have seen a wide variety of different ways in which your IP address can be hidden, in which your IP address can be changed. So I will not repeat it. Typically, if you use a proxy server like HideMyAss or anonymizer.ru, you can actually change your IP address. The second way in which the police or the government can trace you back is using your MAC address. So let me now spend a little bit time explaining to all of you what exactly is a MAC address and why it is important to change it, who gives your MAC address to you, and things like that. See, typically, how do you connect to the internet? How do you connect to the internet? You connect using something known as a network interface card. And some example of network interface cards are the following. You have a Wi-Fi card, and then you have an Ethernet card or Ethernet port. Right? So on your computer, you may have an NIC card like Wi-Fi card or Ethernet port, and you use that to connect to the internet. Now, each NIC card has a unique IP address, unique address known as MAC address. So on my computer, I may have a Wi-Fi card and I may have an Ethernet port. So the MAC address of my Wi-Fi card of my machine is different from the MAC address of the Ethernet port on my machine. So even though the machine is the same, you can have multiple MAC addresses depending on how you are connected to the internet. If you're connected using Wi-Fi card, then the Wi-Fi card's MAC address gets recorded. If you're connected using Ethernet port, then your Ethernet port's MAC address will get recorded on the remote machine. So that is what a MAC address is. Now, who gives your MAC address to you? Your manufacturer. So, for example, I'm using a Dell laptop. So from the time this laptop was manufactured in the factory till the time I I stop using it, my MAC address will not change. So MAC addresses are permanent. So when I use my laptop, for example, to hack into some website, my IP address gets recorded. Along with that, my MAC address could have also been recorded. Which is why MAC spoofing is so important. It is extremely important for a criminal who wants to commit a perfect computer crime to execute MAC spoofing. Now, before I give a demonstration of MAC spoofing to all of you, first question is how to find out your own MAC address. So there's a command called getMAC or ipconfig/all. So these are all MS-DOS commands. So I open up MS-DOS and type getMAC. So within a few seconds, let's wait for the results to be displayed. Yeah, within a few seconds, if you notice, the MAC addresses of all the different NIC cards on my computer have been displayed on the screen. So getMAC is one command that allows you to find out your computer's MAC address, your own MAC address, or you type the ipconfig-all command. So once you've found out your own MAC address, you can actually change your MAC address, which is where you got to make use of a software called Mac Makeup. Mac Makeup. Mac Makeup is available as a free download on the internet. I'm just going to open it up on my computer. So if you notice, the Mac Makeup software is now going to get opened on my computer. Just give me a minute. So this is what the Mac Makeup software looks like. If you do a quick Google search, you can download it free of cost from the internet. You just select the NIC card whose MAC address you wish to change. So you can select the Wi-Fi card, or you can select the Ethernet port. In this space provided, you can type in the new MAC address that you want to give to it, or you can click on the Generate Random button and then select Complete Random MAC Address. So it's completely up to you whether you want to assign a specific MAC address or you want to generate a completely random MAC address. Now click on Change, disconnect from the internet, reconnect, and now your MAC address would have changed. As simple as that. So Mac spoofing is extremely, extremely easy, and along with Mac Makeup, there are other Mac spoofing tools which I like to recommend to all of you. Please write them down. You have, of course, Mac Makeup, then you have Max, then Etherchange, and then BW Mac Hack. So these are all Mac spoofing tools that you can use. Now while we're talking about Mac spoofing, let me actually share with all of you a very interesting hacking scenario. Imagine that you and I are friends. We live in the same college hostel. But secretly, I don't like you. I want you to get into trouble. So what do? I find out your computer's MAC address. How do you do that? It's very simple, using a data sniffer. Later on in this course, we'll discuss data sniffers in detail. So I find out your computer's MAC address. I spoof my MAC address and pretend to be you. I then hack into the Princey's computer. Princey is upset. College does investigation. Your MAC address is found. You get caught. I'm very happy. So that's a classic scenario where spoofing your MAC address can be very, very valuable. I obviously have simplified this example a little bit. There are some other complications that I don't want to get into at this stage. But I hope this makes you understand how important your MAC address is. Because using your MAC address, it's like your identity, it's just like your IP address. So the first step or the first strategy to commit a perfect cyber crime is to hide your IP address by connecting to a proxy server. The second thing that you got to do is you got to spoof your MAC address using any of the tools mentioned on the screen. The third thing that you should do is perform war driving. War driving. Now, war driving, for those of you who do not know, essentially is a very interesting technique that requires two different things. Number one, it requires a Wi-Fi enabled laptop, which nowadays most of us have. Number two, it requires a car. So you take your Wi-Fi enabled laptop, get into a car, and start driving around the city. And while you're driving around the city, the Wi-Fi enabled laptop will be searching or scanning for Wi-Fi zones or wireless networks. And as soon as you find a Wi-Fi zone or a wireless network, you connect to the internet, hack into absolutely any website that you want, and simply drive away. Once again, there is absolutely no way in which you can be traced back. Because normally, whenever you connect to a Wi-Fi network, the only information from your computer that gets recorded on the Wi-Fi router is essentially your computer's MAC address. And in the previous step, we've already seen how you can spoof your MAC address. So once you spoof your MAC address, you can perform war driving, and there is no problem at all. The final technique that I like to recommend to all of you, actually even before the final technique, let me try to give a demonstration to all of you of war driving. There's a very interesting software known as Insider. I'm not too sure whether I have it on my computer or not, but let me try to look for it. I think I may have it. Now, Insider is a great software that allows you to perform war driving. See, to be very honest, war driving can be performed without a software. All you need to do is basically just scan for Wi-Fi networks, which even right now I'm doing using Windows. So on the right hand side bottom corner of the screen, I'm able to see all the Wi-Fi networks that are within range. You have Talent Edge HO, Talent Edge 1, Connectify Man, Linksys, other network, and so on. But instead of using Windows, I can use Insider. And hopefully Insider runs on my computer. It is asking me to download the latest version. Let's see if this old version works or not. Otherwise, I can always give this demonstration in the next lecture. So I'm just going to wait for a minute. Essentially, Insider is a more advanced version of what Windows does in terms of scanning for Wi-Fi networks around you or wireless networks around you. So I would highly recommend it. And of course, later on in this course, in the wireless network or the Wi-Fi hacking lecture, we'll be discussing how to not only perform war driving, but also how to crack somebody else's Wi-Fi network password. So be it WEP, WPA or WPA2 passwords, how to crack them. So I think I may need to download, oh there you go. So if you notice, finally Insider has launched on my machine, and this is the output that we get. So each entry that you are seeing is a different Wi-Fi network. So it has identified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different Wi-Fi networks for me. And for every Wi-Fi network, it has displayed the SSID. SSID is essentially the network name of the Wi-Fi network. The first column is the MAC address column. The first column tells me the MAC address of the Wi-Fi router of the wireless network that is closest to me. So this war driving is also a great way to find out the MAC addresses of the Wi-Fi routers of a given wireless network. Second column is of course the SSID, which is the network names. Third column is RSSI. RSSI basically means signal strength. So the closer the value is to -100, the higher is the network connectivity, if I'm not mistaken. Channel is basically a different communication channel. Vendor tells you the type of wireless router. Most important column is the privacy column, because the privacy column tells you the type of network and the type of security that is there. So if you see none, if there is no security, that means you will not be asked to enter a password to connect to the network. Basically it means there is no security. Then if it says WEP, WEP networks can be cracked very easily. So whenever you see WEP, that means less than maybe 45 minutes or so, you can crack the password. And when you see WPA or if you see RSNA, that means it's higher security. So WEP is the easiest to crack, then WPA, then WPA2. And when there is no security, that means there is no security. And then the last two columns are the latitude and longitude columns. So imagine if I'm a terrorist and I want to physically break or physically destroy the Wi-Fi routers that are in this building. So then what I can do is I can take a GPS receiver and plug it into the USB port of my laptop, and I can keep walking around the building. And at different points of around the building, I can record the signal strength of all the Wi-Fi networks. And once I have enough data points, I can actually estimate the latitude and longitude of the Wi-Fi router, because the signal strength is dependent on the distance from the Wi-Fi router. And if I have enough data points, I can actually estimate the exact location of the Wi-Fi router down to the latitude and longitude. It won't be 100% accurate, but close enough. So that is what war driving is all about. We will discuss war driving in much more detail in the Wi-Fi hacking lecture, which is somewhere in the last week of the course. Next comes the most important ingredient of committing a perfect computer crime, which is onion routing. So what exactly is onion routing and how is it such a big game changer? See, onion routing can be performed using a free software. And the name of the software is Tor. And the full form of Tor is the onion router. The onion router. So that is the full form of Tor. And Tor has, say, around 3,000 to 4,000 servers globally at any given point of time. And Tor gives you encrypted communication or HTTPS connection. Now, just to show you why Tor is better than proxy servers, in a proxy server, your connection is you are connected to a proxy, and the proxy in turn is connected to the internet, right? But in Tor, what happens is you are connected to Tor server 1, which could be, say, in Dubai, which is then connected to Tor server 2, which could be in Japan, which is then connected to Tor server 3, which could be in Russia, and only then are you connected to the internet. So essentially there are 3 layers of anonymity, 3 layers of security between you and the internet if you use Tor. So your IP address is getting changed 3 times. So imagine how difficult it is for the police to trace you back. So if I'm using Tor from here in Mumbai to hack into, say, a Mumbai-based bank, the police department in Mumbai will think that the criminal is where? The criminal is in Russia. So now the police department in Mumbai will contact the Russian police and ask for their help and cooperation. But the Russian police will never reply. And as a result, the investigation will come to an end. So you got to remember, the internet has no boundaries, which means sitting here in India, I can hack any server anywhere in the world. But in real life investigation or real life solving of cyber crimes, there are a lot of geographical and political boundaries that come up. Russian police does not want to cooperate with Indian police. Russian government does not want to cooperate with Indian government, and so on. And Indian police cannot go to Russia and investigate the matter because it is outside their jurisdiction. So committing a crime on the internet is very easy, but tracing it or investigating it is not that easy. So now that you know how powerful Tor is, let me give a demonstration of Tor. And by the way, Tor allows you to hide your IP, it allows you to hide your location, and it also allows you to unblock blocked websites. And it's secure encrypted communication. So a lot of advantages of using Tor. So let me now give a demonstration to all of you of Tor. So if all of you look at the screen, this is the Tor exe file. Right? It says start Tor browser. So let me just double click on it. And automatically Tor actually comes with its own browser. So automatically the Tor system or the Tor software will start. It says connecting to the Tor network, establishing server. And within a few seconds, let's wait. the Tor browser will open, which will then give me access to the internet. So sometimes it takes a minute or so for that to happen. So you just have to be patient. While Tor is opening, I'll just show you some of the websites that I skipped earlier. This is what bitlet.org looks like. And let me show you torrent2exe.com. So this is what torrent2exe.com looks like. Hopefully Tor should open very soon. Normally it does not take this long at all. So let me try opening it again. It says Tor is still kind of opening in the background. This is probably some system error because normally Tor takes less than a few seconds to open. So I'll continue waiting for Tor to open. I'll come back to the Tor demonstration in a few minutes or so. In the meantime, I will continue with the next few demonstrations. I'll try to kill the Tor process so that I can start it again. So just give me a minute while I do all of that. So I'm just gonna end the Tor browser. Okay, hopefully now I can open another session of Tor because I've killed it from the task manager. So as you can clearly see, the Tor browser is finally started. I had to kill the app and then start it again. But the good news is that it started. Normally it will not take this much time for it to begin. Once it started, you will see this message which says, congratulations, this browser is configured to use Tor. So like I mentioned earlier, Tor actually comes with its own browser installed. So Tor will open in its own browser. So now that we have connected to Tor, let's do a quick experiment. So if you notice, this is my Google Chrome browser, and I've used my Google Chrome browser to connect to what is my ipaddress.com. And if you notice, this is the IP address showing up on the screen. It's 182.73.202.140, and the location is Mumbai, Maharashtra, India. Let me now use the Tor browser to connect to the same website, whatismyipaddress.com, and let us see what IP address is showing up on the screen. If you notice, the IP address that is showing up on the screen is very different. It is 69.64.39.206, and if I scroll down, instead of Mumbai, Maharashtra, India as the location is the middle of the ocean. So the police will have no clue as to what is going on. The police does not now know which country's police to contact. So that is the beauty of Tor. It really helps you to pretend to be in some other part of the world. It helps you change your IP address. It helps you also access unblocked websites on the internet. Now, another great thing about Tor is that imagine in the middle of an attack, you're bored of your identity and you want to change your IP address. Or you're scared that the police is going to be able to trace you back. So you want to take an additional precaution by constantly changing your IP address. So all you got to do is click on this Tor button in the Tor browser and select New Identity. And within a few seconds, if you notice, the Tor browser closed and started again, and it has basically re-established a brand new connection for me. So if you notice, now my IP address is a third IP address. But once again, my location is in the middle of the ocean. So Tor is absolutely amazing if you want to keep changing your IP address and make it extremely difficult for the police to actually trace you back. So if you implement these 4 simple things, then committing a perfect computer crime is extremely, extremely easy. Now Tor is absolutely amazing, which is why a lot of companies and colleges have actually started blocking Tor. So what can you do to unblock Tor if your system administrator has blocked it? There are 2-3 things that you can do. First of all, you can change the name of the exe file. So if you go to the Tor folder, that is the folder where Tor has been installed, you'll see that the name of the file is start Tor browser. But essentially, if your system administrator wants to stop